Office of the DPP, Sally Dowling, of having orchestrated that text message. Sally Dowling didn't really focus on whether it was the right
last big twist.
This
one is actually very significant and pretty explosive development.
It
turns out that
she
Nine,
said
which
in a meeting suggested
been
this was an
sued
idea, and
by
Sally Dowling was busy reading emails and sending text
paid,
messages. Didn't really focus on whether it was the right thing to do or not. It's obviously blown up in her face, and it's very embarrassing.
Not say anything more
sorry, I'm just
about
busy
the case after
sending a
she'd
message.
given
So,
evidence.
yes,
She
definitely
had
do that.
made
But whatever you said,
pretty
go ahead.
serious allegations
Sally Dowling has
against
said in a submission to a
Nine
parliamentary
Star
inquiry
reporter.
that she was unaware her staffer was planning to
lovely
leak
to
the
be here, and thank you very
information
much.
and
Enjoy the
never
rest
would
of
have
the
He
approved it
had
if she had
told
known.
her in a
She
phone
said she
conversation
deeply regrets
that
not paying
essentially
more
that
attention.
he
Find
had
a leaker who's
access
giving you
to
things. You then
Ben
report on
Robert
the witch hunt,
Smith's
which is great fun.
legal
What would be your
defence,
advice to organisations who have
that he
suffered a leak?
knew what
My advice would be don't
Ben
go
Robert
after the
Smith's
leaker.
lawyers
It's one of those things that we
were going
see
to
quite
bring
often.
up,
There's one I've got
in
going
the
on at the
case.
moment. There's a story that we spoke about
and
last week
that's a
about
pretty
an incident
serious,
involving a reporter and a cameraman.
allegation
Heated words.
to make. You're not
Don't know if
supposed to have
exchanged,
access
probably
to the opponent's
one direction,
legal strategy.
but there is now a
and
witch
she'd
hunt at
also
Channel 7
claimed
for who
that he
provided me with that
had
vision.
broken a
And
deal
all you
with her
do
not to
when you
identify
do witch
her
hunts
as
for your
the
own
source
staff
of
or say
his
that what they've
information
told
in the
people
case.
isn't true is that
She
you're not
was,
addressing the problem.
alleged by
If
Nine
people
to have
are leaking
been,
against your own organisation, it's because they
assaulted,
feel that
by Ben
information
Robert
needs to be
Smith,
told
and
or
the
shared
judge
because it's
later
not being addressed
decided that
internally.
there actually wasn't
and I'd
enough
also say
evidence
it's
to prove
particularly
that.
reprehensible
So
when
putting
it's
this in the
conducted
bigger
by media
context,
companies.
Nine
because
reported
we talk about
allegations
we will
against
go to court
Ben Robert
not
Smith
to
that he
reveal our
had
sources.
allegedly
We'll
committed
go
war
to court
crimes
unless it's in our
while
newsroom, in
fighting
which
for
case we'll
Australia
hunt them
as
down and get rid of
special
them. And I
forces
just think,
soldier in Afghanistan.
again,
Some
this
of those
is something we've
allegations
talked about a
include
lot,
kicking a
is
man
when you
down
see
a
that,
small cliff
all that
who
happens
was restrained
is that leaker,
and otherwise treating people
all of a sudden
who were
all their
in
friends
custody,
start leaking, and there's
Afghan
it has the opposite
cruelty
effect.
or in fact
you
killing.
try to get one
Ben
person
Robert Smith
next thing you know,
denied the
I've got 9 people
allegations
calling
and
me.
announced
It's
his
often very
intention to
futile
sue
as well
Nine.
because
And this is where it gets
sources
interesting.
are,
When this
just like
happens
everyone
to a
else in the
media
world now, very
organisation,
sophisticated
the
about how they
sources for the
transmit
original
information.
story, in this case,
You
multiple
see companies
stories that
going
covered
through
all
the
sorts of
process of
allegations against
analysing
Ben Robert
people's
Smith.
emails and then
The media
looking at their official
organisation
company
asked them
devices
to
to
come
see
to
if they've
court to
sent
be
any text
witnesses to
messages,
prove that the
or
story
maybe which
is
systems
true.
they've logged into recently.
It's not
Any source
surprising
with
that
assault
there would be
who's
ongoing
going to take the
conversations
risk
between
of
a
doing a
witness
leak
and
is not
a
going to be
journalist.
using any
in
of
this
those
case, Nick
platforms and
Mackenzie
leaving little
seemed to be
fingerprints out
appointed
there.
the
The
person
TV
who was in
networks
charge
love
of
this,
dealing
going through
with the
people's
witnesses,
emails
right?
and text messages.
That seems quite
It's as easy
unconventional,
as
right?
the
You would
email,
think normally it
screenshot
would
on
be
their
lawyers
phone
who
and
would
it's
be
sent
doing
via
that kind of
Signal
thing.
or WhatsApp.
Well,
but what we're seeing as a
Nick
result
is
of
a
this
very
is a
good
lot
journalist,
more
and
editorial
he
staff
is the
inside
kind of journalist
places,
that
and
will
we know from the message that went out at the ABC,
maintain
hey, don't send Signal
continuous
about certain
contact with
topics that could
everybody
be covered
that
by
he's
the
talking
Royal
about.
Commission
And
into
frankly, I don't
anti-Semitism.
blame him.
We
This
know
was
that
always
by
going
virtue of
to
them
be
saying that,
an
it's because all their
explosive
staff are on
case.
Signal.
I
And
mean,
at
it was
7 they're
pretty
all on Signal,
clear
at 9 they use WhatsApp.
from
but
an
they're not
early
prepared
stage
to
that
send
Ben
open
Robert Smith
text
was going to
messages over
take
their
legal
work
action
phone.
if they
Is that
went
to
ahead
protect
with
their
these
sources? No,
stories.
it's to protect
And
themselves.
you need
And
to
when
know
you're in a
what your
situation
witnesses
where
are
your
going
own
to say.
editorial staff are
Mackenzie
worried that their
was
bosses are spying on
obviously
them,
very across.
there's only one impact that it has on morale, and it's not a
the
good one.
witnesses
Every
amongst
organisation
the soldiers
invests a
who
huge
were
amount of
going to
money
appear
in their
for
computer
Nine
systems
to
and then in their
defend
official
his
communication
stories.
channels,
And
Slack,
it's also
Google
clear
Chat,
that he had
whatever it is.
lots and
But,
lots of
then
contact
other
with
conversations, and
person
this
17,
ranges from government departments
Ben
right through
Robert
to everywhere
Smith's
in the private
former,
sector.
mistress,
Everyone is actually talking
over
on
quite a
WhatsApp
long
or
period.
Signal or
Now, she had
other
made
encrypted
quite serious
apps.
allegations that Ben
The
Robert Smith
Bondi
had
Royal
pushed her down
Commission
a flight of
issued
stairs,
a directive
and
to the ABC
Nine
and
published those
SBS for them to
and punched her in
retain
the
all their
face. I mean, there were very
communications, official
serious
communications
allegations.
about
So then
the news
how did
gathering
the
related
allegations come
Bondi.
to start being
I mean,
about
that's quite chilling for
Nick
any
Mackenzie,
newsroom,
who
isn't it?
certainly
When
did
you're
not
in the
do
heat of
anything
the
like
moment,
punch her in
there
the
are
face or
things
push her
said,
down
and
the
we see it
stairs.
happen time and again, that
at
messages
some
that people have sent
point,
historically
person
while chasing a
17,
story or celebrating getting a
after
story
she'd,
or
They don't
given
age well.
evidence,
yeah, they don't
decided
age well, and they
that
don't
the whole
get
thing
read
had
well
been
in black
unfair
and
to
white.
her.
Office banter,
She claimed that
we talk about gallows
Mackenzie
humour
had
in
not
newsrooms
lived
all the
up to
time.
the deal
We're
that
dealing with
Nine
a lot
had
of dark
made with
stuff,
her to
particularly people who do
keep her
national
out of
security,
the
counter-terrorism, crime
proceedings,
rounds.
to not to identify
if you're you're trying to get the best story for your
Nine
viewers,
won this case.
you'll be excited that,
was
hey, I've got
heralded by the
father
organisation
of
as
the
a massive
victim.
win for
And,
free speech, and
should you be
and,
celebrating that? It doesn't always
the press's ability to tell the
translate
truth about powerful
to
people.
the
It was a
empathy and
devastating
sympathy
loss
that
for
you
Ben
do
Robert
feel
Smith.
after
But Nine
deadline.
didn't want
Is
this
that
part of the story to
adrenaline,
come
that
out, did
pressure,
they?
and sometimes
It
it's
certainly
really
didn't.
unfair.
No, and
because,
to be fair
again,
to Nine,
the way
it
things
did
are read in
prove,
retrospect,
on the balance of
probabilities
probabilities
We're going to
that
get
Ben
accused of
Robert
being
Smith had
hypocrites here now
murdered
because we've
4
just been advocating for
Afghans.
freedom
It
of
was a
speech and
very
complete
serious
transparency.
finding
But now I
against them,
do
obviously, and
agree.
it did destroy
are in newsrooms
Ben
conversations that you
Roberts-Smith's
have to have also
reputation
about
as, Australia's
the
preeminent
trustworthiness
war
or
hero.
veracity of sources.
But clearly,
you need to be able to say, this person's
things
dodgy.
went wrong.
I don't think we should go there with this story.
At a certain
you need to be able to
point
have that
with
conversation
person
to make sure that what you
17.
are
We're
actually
not
publishing
quite
is
sure what that
legit.
was, but at
So
some point she
that's
turned against them
also
and decided
bit
that
of a
they had done the wrong
sobering
thing
prospect, isn't it, for those
by
kinds of
her,
communications
and she
to be
actually
aired.
drew up a
particularly,
statement of
and
claim.
to your point, there
a
are questions
legal
that need to be
document, a
asked.
threat
Is
to
this-
sue,
what's
and
this guy's
presented
story?
it
He
to
looks
them.
a bit dodgy.
And shortly
Again,
after that,
doesn't age
they
well, but they're the
paid her a
questions that
settlement,
every
a very
journalist or every reporter gets
incredibly
pushed back from their
substantial
editors or
settlement.
executive producers in
I'm not
television
aware
because
of
they want to make sure,
circumstances
are we right
like
on
this where
Are we
a
sure about
witness,
that? So there's a lot of
who's
pushback, and it's
gone
not saying
rogue,
that
if you like,
the
has been
organisation
paid
doesn't think it stands up. It's like,
$700,000 to
let's
then
test it,
stay
let's
away
test
from the
everything.
case.
It's really
Legal
difficult
tactics
balancing
are
act
a
for
whole
anyone.
world of their
For
own,
me,
and
one of
often
the
decisions are
subtexts of that
made
request
in
from the
cases
Royal
as they
Commission, which
progress
only
that
went to the
don't
public
necessarily
broadcasters
reflect
as to
whether
whether
or
or
not,
not,
for
for
example,
example,
is about
Nine
anti-Semitism.
felt that it had done anything
Are
wrong
they having
here. It might have
conversations
just felt
inside
that
those
the right
public
thing to do
broadcasters
for
that
itself
might reflect
was to
fear in
cut this off.
some parts of the Jewish community
Absolutely. This woman, person 17, was making serious allegations about Nine's conduct and about Mackenzie's conduct, but we don't know
noticed
to
since
what
Bondi
extent those allegations are true.
the
And in the
reckoning
midst
that's
of
happening, if there is one,
the
in
rough and
those public
tumble of this
broadcasters about
$30 million
the kind of opinion they've
legal
been
case,
broadcasting.
We know that
they
there are some
decided to make
instances
it
that
go
have been
away,
referred to the
and
Ombudsman,
media
saying,
organisations
there are
do
comments
pay money just to
that
make
show some
things
level of
go
prejudice.
away. But
I mean, it's one of
I've
those
still got
ones
to
that
say,
in those newsrooms
$700,000
specifically because they're
is
taxpayer
pretty much
funded
unprecedented.
and they are held to an
Ben
extremely high
Roberts-Smith
standard
took
because
this
they
legal
have to
action
be
saying that he
impartial,
just couldn't
and the
live with the fact
expectations,
that his name was
because they're
black and
effectively
unfairly
public
like
servants,
this.
are so
It's been
high
disastrous
that there is
for
a
him.
massive
And we've seen
pushback. And
other
we are
defamation
seeing
actions
people
go the
like
same way.
Chairman
Bruce
Jim
Lemon
Williams
versus Network
and
10 and
Managing
Lisa
Director
Wilkinson
Hugh
was a
Mark
similar
focusing on what's
disaster.
being said on social media, and
With
we
this
do see two
experience, would
leaders
your
at the
advice,
top
Ricey,
who are
and you are a
very
journalist, so you
invested
might
in
have a
making
vested
sure
interest
those
here.
changes do
Should
come
people
about.
sue for defamation?
Steve Jackson,
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Only
having
if
me.
you're crazy.